All right, welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to just touch base quickly on the accounting literacy discussion board. This is essentially our weekly discussion board, and what you'll see linked in each week's content is the actual discussion board itself. There is a description of the what they call the forum, which holds each of the week's discussion boards. Um, so again, like I said, one track of learning in this course is going to be um, understanding and trying to understand a company's um, financial reporting or through its annual report. So every publicly traded company, Nike, Amazon, um, Microsoft, Apple, all of these big companies that you're familiar with are required to file their financial statements with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So they've actually filed quarterly and annually. We'll be taking a look at the annual just to get a big picture look. And so, yeah, each week we're going to tackle a piece of it. Just to break it down because it can be very cumbersome to look at, and nobody sits down and reads it like the great American novel. They can be 100 pages long, so it's important to understand what are the pieces to it, and where can you kind of jump to get some quick answers. So we're going to be looking at the annual report, and in this first week, just sort of as a primer, um, we're going to take a look at the letter to the shareholders that accompanies each one. So, like I said in the intro, I'm going to use my point of reference will be Nike. You'll be doing this again in the discussion board with your own company. But I just want to show you like how you even go about like looking this up. So I'm gonna go straight to the source here, and if you just type in like you know Nike 2017 financial statements and hit enter, typically you'll see something like this, like investors.nike.com. Sometimes you might see something a little more crazy like this. I think Amazon's looks like this too. I think that's their like back end server. But typically I'll just start with the investor page, and it'll kind of have a few different areas. And if you scroll back up a little bit, annual reports, 2017 annual report down here, the link launch annual report. There's is a little animated. And up here you'll see 2017, 1, the letter to the shareholders, 2, the 10K, that's the annual report. It's the 10K is the form that they file with the SEC, including the entire annual report. So let's just start. This week we're going to start easy. We're just going to take a look at the letter to shareholders. So this is the one that accompanies the 2017 financial statements to our shareholders here. And if you just kind of like quickly page down, you can see this thing is not 100 pages. This one is probably like 4 pages. And it just kind of gives you, it comes from the chief executive officer. So you're kind of getting a feel for, you're getting some of the personality of who is, who's driving the bus at this company. And they'll talk about some of their achievements over the course of the year. They talk about this breaking two, which I had to look up separately. That was actually a documentary where somebody is trying to beat the 2 hour marathon record. I think it said nobody's ever run a marathon in less than 2 hours. So that documentary kind of explores that, and they're sort of, a part of it. It gives a couple highlights, very high level financial highlights. It talks about how the revenues grew, earnings per share, which we'll talk a little bit about later. This means return on invested capital. We'll get to some of these terms later in the course, but right now I just want you to just kind of read through this thing and what is it, just trying to figure out what is it trying to tell you, what is it highlighting, what might you want to know more about as a potential investor. So here it's talking about consumer direct offense. They talk about some of their strategies here: consumer direct offense, the triple double strategy. So they take 3 areas of their business and they're trying to double those, double the initiative, double the speed, and double the direct sales. So they talk about some of the things that they're doing specifically in products, talking about carbon fiber materials. They talk about digital knitting. These are all things that are, potentially new and different and can generate new kinds of sales and more sales. Talking about how to sell directly to consumers, because that's important, because if you go to the Nike, let's say you're comparing, you're potentially going to buy a pair of Nike sneakers, which let's just say they're, I don't know, let's say they're $100. They're probably going to be $100 on the Nike website, and they're going to be $100 in, Foot Locker and anywhere else that you might buy them. So if they cost the same amount, you got to think about what are the costs related to this. If you just buy it directly from Nike, they get to keep all of that $100 minus the cost to make the sneaker. If they sell it through Foot Locker, they have to sell it at a wholesale price. Foot Locker has to mark it up so that they can make money on it. Essentially, and when you buy direct, they have a higher, they are getting more money. They get to keep more money at the end of the day from that $100 price that you pay. So that's why they're trying to do that. So again, what are a handful of things in here that maybe you didn't know or you find interesting? Some pictures of the people that they work with or sponsor. Just get, you're trying to get a feel for what does this company value, what are they trying to achieve, and ultimately, does this make you interested in the company as an investor, as a potential investor? And we'll talk about we're going to look at more specific things in the future, but this is your first interaction with the company, essentially. So, what can you take away from this? What did you learn? What do you have questions about? And are you any more interested in investing in the company? So, again, you'll be doing something similar to this, a little more in detail, because I just kind of quickly paged through this thing, but that's how you get here. That's what the point of this thing is, and I look forward to reading about what you found interesting in your company's letter to the shareholders. So I will talk to you in the next installment.